Now, this is really why the story of David and King Solomon is in the Bible. The reason being is that the entire life of King David, including his legacy with his children, completely illustrates exactly the fall from the truth of God to the satanic governmental rulership blueprint of Satan. You see a man dedicated to God, David, as a shepherd in the field, loving and adoring Christ, loving and adoring God, worshiping him. God covered him, God protected him, God led him, God gave him wisdom and discernment and power. Everything, the four tetrahedron, the image of God, reflected in David's life in the beginning. But then, when he ascended and took wealth, the governmental systems then dictated his life in energetic frequency. So instead of taking the evolution of who he was now in Christ, in the truth of who Yahweh is, and the truth of the image of God, he instead began reflecting Satan. And you see all the evil that David perpetrated. And that evil then passed on to his son, who he literally enslaved 700 women. Concubines are slaves, they're sex slaves. So King Solomon literally made these women his sex slaves, harvested their energy, their wealth, and used women to rise to power. And that's why all that was destroyed. Now, that is the satanic agenda. That's the dark side of Enlil's governmental management blueprint. It's to use women. And it began all the way back in Eden, when Eve was captured and enslaved by the dragon. So instead of women being the helper to elevate mankind, the governmental universal law sees them as something to harvest and use to suck dry, to take their throne, to take their power for its own wealth. And so you see David do that, especially when he dethroned Michal, his first wife. And then he went off and got other wives and he made women sex slaves. And then